What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to the Blazers Uprise post-game show. This game was a high-octane shootout between the Kings and the Blazers. They, at one point, they didn't get to it, but they threatened the most threes in a game by two teams combined in NBA history. I think the record is 43 threes. You had the Blazers hitting 23. I don't know how many the Kings hit, but they hit a bunch as well. This was just an absolute shootout. Glad that the Blazers could pull out their fourth straight win. They come back once again and take care of this one with a final score of 132 to 136. 126. You had Yusuf Nurkic, CJ McCollum, and Damian Lillard all playing well. You had the team shooting great, and this was still a game for the Portland Trailblazers, a game where they fought back from two 19-point deficits. They were down 20 in the first half, cut it to 3 at halftime. Then in the second half, they got down 19 again, and were able to bring it back behind some hot shooting. And I'm just going to be honest, this game was extremely entertaining. I thoroughly enjoyed this game. You know, there's obviously issues, which we'll touch upon like always, but you had, I think, both teams playing really good offensive basketball. You had a guy like De'Aaron Fox going into this game shooting 29% from three, hitting contested step back threes. You had Buddy Hield shooting well, and then you had the Blazers shooting well on top of that. This was just a really good offensive game from both teams. The defense left a little to be desired on both sides, but overall, offensive games are fun to watch, man. It's fun to watch a shootout. It's fun to watch all three members of our big three play well. It's fun to see Nurkic, CJ, and Dame all have good games. This was probably Nurkic's best game of the season. He was phenomenal on both ends. You also had a big game from Gary Trent Jr. as well. So we'll touch on all the players, all the things we noticed from this game. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Looking forward to this post-game stream. Yes, Connor, I know like a couple streams ago you were worried about me wearing a robe, and now you're saying I shaved. Yes. Yes, this is, yeah. We ain't gonna joke about that, man. I know I got the baby face and all that, so I know those comments are coming. I gotta make sure to get this double Eric screen out. So anyway, yeah. What do you want to get to first, Eric?
Well, let me just point out that it was a fun game because we won. I mean, as entertaining as it was, if we lost this game, it would have been pretty frustrating.
It would have been. It would have been. I thought it was a fun game. Like I said it with I think 4 minutes left, and I think it was only a couple point game. So just in general, it was a fun game. But overall, it would have been frustrating if we lost, especially with all three, with all three of Dame, CJ, and Nurkic playing well, with us shooting that great. If we still lost to the Kings, it would have definitely been extremely frustrating. Just honestly. Given the way we shot, like if you just looked at our offensive numbers, you would assume we won this game by 20 to 30 points, but this one went down to the wire. But I'll take the win, and I'll take the win because what did I say before the Raptors game? I wanted to go 2-1 over the following three, which was the Raptors. We won that one. This one, we won this one, and then we play the Pacers tomorrow night. Quick turnaround on that one, but I wanted to go at least 2-1. Now that's guaranteed. We got a chance to go 3-0 and extend our winning streak to 5. That would be awesome. So. Yeah, what are your initial takeaways from this game?
It was great to see the passing out of our guards. That was the most impressive, even more so than tying the franchise record for three-pointers in the game. I think if you see Dame and CJ get anywhere close to 20 assists, I think they had 23 combined tonight. This is a team that only averages 20 assists a game over the last few years, let alone having two players both have double-digit assists. And that's amazing to see. We saw several plays, especially from CJ, where he would normally shoot the ball and he zipped it past a couple in a row to Cantor for easy dunks. And those are like, in a close game, those little plays where instead of missing a shot, you get your big man involved. And then Dame has been trying to get Nurk going too in games. And so just getting those guys involved in the game and getting them buckets, but you get an assist too, so it's not like you're not affecting the outcome of the game either. I think those are key to developing good cohesion as a unit and getting those guys going, other than Dame and CJ, like getting another guy like Nurk had a big game. And I think that's because we were actively trying to get him good shots.
Yeah, granted, outside of those two, nobody was really
right.
doing much. Those two guys pretty much created everything for us, for our offense tonight. Our third kind of shot creator, I would say, is Yusuf Nurkic, just with some of his playmaking. He didn't get an assist. Covington, Jones, neither of them got an assist. Cantor and Hood, neither of them got an assist. Gary Trent Jr. had 4 assists off the bench. So out of our 28 total assists, 27 of them came from Lillard, McCollum, or Gary Trent Jr., our guards. But the playmaking from both those guys was legit because they were also scoring the ball decently. You know, CJ didn't have a super efficient night, and but overall, like when he's getting 10 assists and he's able to hit some of those shots he did, I mean, he was 10 for 23. That's not terrible. 6 for 16 from the 3-point line. That's not bad. That's a little below 40%. So you'll take that in a game where he's racking up 8 boards, 10 assists, and whatnot. So those two guys played great. We'll touch on them more in a little bit. Defensively, I do want to start with that. So I felt like, and let me know if you didn't see this, I felt like we tried to do a little bit more defensively this game than we have in some previous games. There was a point where it seemed like we were trying to trap, but the trap was so soft that I couldn't tell if they were trying to trap or just trying to show the big higher. So I couldn't really tell, but it seemed designed as if it was supposed to be a trap. I saw at least a couple possessions where we ran some variation of a 2-3 zone, or it might have been a matchup zone. It wasn't a long possession, so it was hard to tell, but it was definitely one of the two. So it seemed like we tried to do some different things defensively tonight. Honestly, not much of it worked, but it was more so just the execution of some of the certain schemes and stuff they were doing. Like, like if we were trapping, the stretch where I thought we were trapping, the trap was so soft I can't tell, so maybe I'm wrong. But there's this stretch where it was like we're trapping soft and allowing them to easily get the ball out of the trap, and then they were picking us apart. If you're going to trap, you got to trap harder. And if you're going to show that high, you might as well just trap since the big was coming up so far above the point of the screen. There was just a lot of like defensive possessions where I felt like players weren't rotating out well, the wrong players were helping. The trap wasn't hard enough if we were indeed trying to trap on some of those possessions. Overall, it's just like executional mistakes. I thought defensively kind of let them get going. On top of the Kings also hitting some tough shots. I mean, De'Aaron Fox finished 5 for 8 from the 3-point line. He was shooting under 30% going into this game. Buddy Hield 8 for 18. Like, they shot the ball really well on top of that to make it even worse.
Are you talking about like the first half or the second half?
I don't remember. It was like some point in the middle of the game. I don't know if it was like near the end of the first or in the third quarter.
I thought the defense was extremely sloppy. There was a huge lack of effort in the first half. Yeah. And then towards the end of the first half, we like put some effort, get back in the game, and then we come out with no effort again in the third quarter.
Why are you saying that like a disagreement? Because I 100% agree with that.
I'm just saying, like, I didn't really see anything going on. There was like one play where it was Derrick Jones Jr.'s man. I forgot who it was, but he got a screen from Rocco's man, and Rocco like hard trapped it, but like Derrick Jones thought he was just switching, so it like looked awkward because Derrick Jones Jr. went with the screener when he rolled.
Yeah, and I'm not even mentioning that, but yeah, that was like first quarter, I think, early on in that game that happened. I saw,
and so like other than that, I didn't really see a lot of like trapping situations that I can remember, but the thing that got us back in the game defensively was playing the passing lanes and just being a little more aggressive on whoever was guarding the ball. We had several steals or tip balls off passes that led to fast break points, which we normally don't get easy baskets like that. Trent had a nice one. Nurk had a nice one. So that kind of stuff is more, I mean, yeah, you can design it that way, but that was more like players making plays, I think, towards the end and picking up their effort, in my opinion.
Yep. I mean, it wasn't like for long spurts, right? It was kind of like 3-4 possessions that I noticed like little changes, little tweaks to what they were doing. So I don't know. I'd have to like go back and really. All right, we gotta mute some people. Do we have mods in here? Or
yeah, Trevin, I just beat him.
Cool. We're all racing to ban the spammers. Man. Well, my chat, honestly, like through my streaming software, lags slightly behind your guys's. So, but overall, like, I did see them kind of make little adjustments here and there. overall, it was just kind of the executional mistakes. It was guys helping at the wrong guys helping, leaving the corner open when there wasn't somebody else on that side of the floor to cover. Guys over helping. It's just a lot of that same executional mistakes we had, and the Kings made us pay, right? If the Kings, we could have played that type of defense, and I wouldn't have been surprised if the Kings only scored 110 points because they didn't, shoot amazingly. They shot 50% from three, 19 for 38, and 52% from the field. So, they shot really, really well, extremely well. And honestly, it's like the defense that we played against them the first time we played them a couple of games ago, it wasn't that much better. I don't know. Maybe I'm mixing up my games here.
Yeah,
no, it was like the effort.
That was the one you thought was our best defensive effort of the season.
The effort was better. The effort was better, but it also helped that they missed some open shots. So overall, I think the defensive issues came down to just poor executional situations. We didn't execute things properly, and we weren't really bought in the entire game. It seemed like our energy came in spurts, and that's how we ended up down 20, and then all of a sudden down 3, and then down 19, and then winning the game. It was just inconsistent effort. So overall, it's stuff that I want to see improve, but not something that I can even blame, Stotts for, not something that I can blame necessarily one or two specific players for. It seemed like a team-wide thing and a team-wide issue.
Yeah, I was going to be super upset if we lost this game and I heard afterwards anybody tell me that, they just made their shots. Because the first half especially, we gave them wide open shots. We let Buddy Hield, and actually down the stretch in the fourth quarter, we also gave Buddy Hield extremely wide open shots. We kept dropping the big. He got open in the corners of people not rotating properly and stuff like that. And he just happened to miss the shots that he was hitting most of that game. Because at one point, I think he was 8 for 13 or something from 3, and he missed his last 5 down the stretch. Mm-hmm. But I just thought our closeouts, there was plays where we didn't even come within 5 feet on a closeout, didn't put our hand up, it's just really lackadaisical. And it's, once again, I'm glad we won. It's great. It's just, I'm hoping at some point they learn that to be a good team, you can't continually have inconsistent effort like that on the defensive end. You have to bring it all the time. You have to, you can't have games where you just don't show up on defense and then expect to be bailed out by these great performances all the time, and especially when it's against better teams. We got lucky we were playing a team like the Kings tonight who can't play defense either, and we went off. I just worry that we're not learning from these type of games, and we're just going in, well, we won, so what does it matter? We can just show up to the next game and win. Or at halftime of this game, I felt like, we cut down the deficit, we got this game now, and then they don't come out with that same effort that got them back in the game in the third quarter. It's just, I just hope they, at some point, figure it out that they need to bring it like they played at the end of the second quarter and in the fourth quarter of this game, every game, if they're going to be a contender.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be a situation of playing to your opponent. I wouldn't be surprised if they go up against the Lakers and have a complete game with defensive effort, but you want to see that against as often as possible. You do not want to see some of the lapses they had. But overall, it's this is a talented team that when they start giving effort on the defensive end, they can completely destroy a 20-point lead. This is the second straight game where we've come back from a major deficit. I think our largest deficit against the Raptors was 17 in the first half, and we cut that to 5 at the end of the half. So that's the thing is, that's kind of the nice thing about it, is that when we are bought in, we actually look like a competent and decent defensive team for the most part, and it helps us, with the offensive firepower we have, kind of destroy leads. But it just leaves you wanting it more consistently, so you're not down in the first place. That's kind of the double-edged sword there. But offensively, just a terrific game all around. You just had Dame and CJ cooking. I thought the ball movement in this game was very solid. I thought we moved the ball well. And in isolation and stagnant settings, you had Dame and CJ doing a really good job of creating something out of nothing pretty much this entire game, whether it was a shot for themselves or a shot for others. You're talking about this backcourt combining for 68 points and 23 assists. That is absolutely phenomenal. It's just, but this is, like, it's phenomenal and a historic shooting night, and they combine for 12 threes, and the statistical production is insane, but I'm not, like, shocked. We know these guys can do this and put the team on their backs. It's just nice when both of them get it going and can help cover for what was a very poor defensive game as well as a hot shooting Sacramento Kings team.
And see, this is what I'm worried about, because Portlandia says if we win, keep doing almost everything the same. And that's my fear, is that we're just going to get complacent with the 4-game winning streak, and then we'll come out flat again. And I don't believe in that at all. I feel like you need to, I mean, yes, winning's good, but, like, if I was a coach or a player, like, I would be focused on the things we did wrong in this game and why it was even a close game when we had that kind of production out of our top 3 players, Well,
you're talking about our team having a historic 3-point shooting night tonight. They tied the franchise record and made threes. They shot 48% from 23 for 48. And you're talking about you're going up against a lottery team, and it goes down to the wire. There's definitely things that can be improved. You do not want to have to rely on having historic shooting nights to beat lottery teams, right? Yeah. So you don't want to, like, let's just do what we did tonight against every lottery team. We'll be fine. No, next time they're not going to shoot 23 for 48. They're going to shoot 17 for 48, and therefore they're going to lose by double digits, So, happy with the shooting and all that. Very entertaining game. I was very, pleased that we can pull out this win and build our record to a nice 7-4 start. We had some bad losses so far this season. I kind of feel like we should be even better than 7-4, but overall you need to take care of these games, so that part's nice. But there's definitely some improvements that can still be made. To say the Blazers did everything they needed to do on the defensive end is just it's not the case. Offensively, I mean, I don't know how they could have played much better than this. This is a pretty perfect offensive game. You just don't want to give yourself such a thin margin of error because of how poorly you defend, that you have to have perfect offensive games to beat lottery teams when you're a team that is trying to hold yourself to contention level, right? Here's the thing. This is an easy 25-point win if the Blazers just give consistent effort on the defensive end. It's an easy 25-point win, and instead of Dame having to play 42 minutes and CJ having to play 42 minutes, those guys only have to play 30 minutes. We don't want to run those guys into the ground. We don't want them playing 42 minutes a night. So definitely some things that can be improved upon, but I do like that it's, we're still winning games, right? We're on a 4-game winning streak, and there's still, like, obvious areas of improvement that could make us even better and help us win more games in the future.
Absolutely agree. And so I just want to address something Danny P said. He says, you guys need to stop ignoring chat. So if you're new around here, so this is what happens. We break down the game, give our thoughts, we go over some players, and then we get into it with chat and talk. But
if you keep spamming the same post over and over again, we'll put you in a 5-minute timeout. Please don't spam chat. But
we'll get to people's questions later.
Yeah, and if somebody leaves a donation, we always read off our donations and stuff. It's just chat's popping with a bunch of different things. If we just constantly responded to chat, we would be going in 10 different directions and not being able to do anything cohesively in terms of breaking down the game. So we definitely tune in with chats for certain points, but I didn't even have chat out because I was looking at stats, so I was reading off, some of the statistical things from this game and covering this game. That's what we do. It's a post-game show. So appreciate Near012 with the $10 donation. He says, the fact that we had to come back from 20 twice in one game is annoying, but Nurk is back, and that makes it worth it. We will touch on Nurk. Nurk has been phenomenal. Appreciate the donation, Near0. Definitely don't want to have to rely on coming back from that sort of deficit multiple times in a game. So anyway, offensively,
he also had a $5 donation. Near012.
Oh, did I miss it?
And hashtag where is Robe Tori?
Oh, where is it? Man, I might have to break it out.
It's at the very bottom.
Just for you, Near0, I might have to break it out. But overall, We have morning games coming up. Maybe one of the morning Sunday games. We have like two 10 a.m. tips on Saturday,
Monday.
Sunday, and a couple.
It's Monday.
Is it Monday?
Yeah, that's an MLK game. I think it's an early start.
Monday morning robe. But yeah, so anyway, if the number one Blazers fan, if you have to ban him again, just permanently ban him, mods. Anyway, anything else like offensively you want to touch on? Like, what is there anything you want to expand on?
No, I mean, I like going to the 3-point shot if it's working and getting people involved. I wish we found a way to get some off-ball movement to get those shots, but when you're shooting this hot, that's an example of going with what's working instead of like we saw in a previous game where we missed like 13 out of our last 15 shots and we kept shooting threes. So, like, that's a time to maybe try something different. But when it's working, you definitely keep going to it.
Yeah, 100%. It was nice to see Rocco shoot the ball well. We'll touch on the individual players and we can touch on more offensive things when we get to them. I'm just trying to just get over the themes of the game. What is there anything else? You just want to hop into players at this point?
Let's go into players. Oh, it's noon on Monday, it looks like.
Noon on Monday? Well, we have 10 a.m. tips. 10 a.m. tips make more sense, man. I'm going to be tired anyway, so I might as well just, rock that. Let me pull up. Why isn't it? There we go. All right. So I'm trying to use as much of my computer screen as possible. I have to have Eric's call on my screen.
Coming up in early February, we have a Saturday, Sunday back-to-back that are both 10.
See, those were the ones I was talking about. Yeah. Ugh, that's disgusting. Anyway, let's jump into the players. We're going to start off with not Rodney Hood. I didn't even make a graphic for him. He didn't do anything tonight. We're going to start off instead with Damian Lillard. 40 points, 13 assists, 3 steals, 11 for 23 from the field. I didn't realize he had a 40-point game until I checked the box score. They didn't even really mention it. I knew he was having a good scoring night, but they weren't really the broadcast wasn't really point tracking him as much as they normally do. But overall, it's just a typical good Dame game. He got to the free throw line 12 times, cashed in all 12 of those. He was, let me look up his 3-point shooting. He was 6 for 15 from the 3-point line. He was 5 for 8 inside the arc. That's 40% from 3. That's over 50% inside the arc. So that is an efficient night, especially when you consider that he got to the line 12 times and cashed in all those. So 40 points on 23 shots. That's definitely efficient. Had 3 steals as well. This is just Dame doing Dame things. He seems to have pretty good games against Sacramento, and this is just another one of them.
Yeah, he was great tonight. And like you said, it wasn't even like, oh my God, Dame's taking this game over. He's playing great. Like, it wasn't like that kind of performance. He had some moments like that. It was nice to see him hit a couple of deep threes and actually put those down this game because he had been kind of struggling with those longer ones. He hit a wide open one too, which was good.
He got a few wide open threes this game. I think there was like 3 of his makes were wide open, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. But yeah, just anytime you can get that kind of output and help your teammates out scoring the ball as well. This is a phenomenal game. And I think he is the first player in NBA history to have at least 40 points and 13 assists with 0 turnovers.
Yeah, 0 turnovers is impressive for 13 assists. Because last game against the Raptors, he had 8 turnovers and very sloppy. And we touched on that. It wasn't what you want to see out of your point guard, especially a player as good as Dame. 13 assists, 0 turnovers is I couldn't ask for much more from a playmaking department.
Yep.
Shout out to Anime Jake for the $5 donation. He says, I still believe in Hood. He's still finding his groove and he isn't chucking up shots. He's just trying to find it when it is there. I agree. I'm willing to be patient with Hood. He only played 10 minutes tonight, but overall he's not forcing things and it'll still take some time. So I'm definitely taking the patient route with him.
Do you have him on a slide or no?
No, he didn't do anything. He had
let's talk about him real quick then.
1 block, and otherwise he 0 assists, 0 rebounds, 0 points in those 10 minutes.
So we talked about this before, whether you let him keep taking his lumps even though it could be hurting the team now, hoping that it pays benefits down the future, kind of like what we talked about all season with Simons last year. But seems different just because it's not like we've seen what he can do in the past versus just coming back from an injury. But at like what point do you think we should start to maybe give someone else those minutes, or does it matter who we're playing or what the game situation is? Like if we're playing a good team, maybe not play him some games, or would you just keep rolling him out for a few minute spurts in each half and hoping that eventually he can find his rhythm and stuff like that?
You just keep running him out for now until February. If there's no signs of improvement at the start of February, then maybe you reconsider things. But we play a lot of easy teams, and it's not like he's out there playing terrible defense or forcing up a bunch of bad shots and missing them. Like, he's trying to fit in, so he'll be fine. So anyway, let's talk.
Paulie Ross.
Yeah, that's what I was forgetting. Paulie Ross says Rashawn Holmes off our bench would be savage. I've always liked his game. Yeah. I've always liked his game. I've always thought he was underrated. He had 17. No, he had 17 points today, 9 rebounds, 6 assists as well. 6 for 6 from the field. He was probably, I don't know. You had 29 from Fox and 26 from Hield, and both guys shot the ball well. So those two, and then they had Holmes, who was definitely their third guy. You had Halliburton. We'll touch on their stats too, because Halliburton was insane tonight. I do want to talk a little bit about some of their players that stepped up and played big for them, because they had a lot of good performances. Let's move on and talk about CJ. Because CJ also had a very good game of his own. 28 points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds, almost got a triple-double. 10 for 23 from the field. He was 6 for 16 from 3. That's just him, he said he wanted to take more threes this year. He's leading the league in three-point makes, and 16 of his 23 shots were threes. 6 for 16 is solid. That's like, 38%, somewhere in there, I think. Probably 37%. So solid shooting numbers from CJ. He was 4 for 7 inside the arc, and then his playmaking was very, very good. He had that impressive stretch where he had he rebounded his own miss and had that quick left-handed pass to Cantor, and then the next time down he drove, 2 defenders committed, and he hit Cantor with a wraparound pass for 2 of Cantor's buckets. Both Cantor field goals were set up by CJ. He's been great this season. He's definitely playing at an all-star level, and it's nice to just see him and Dame get it going at the same time, because we haven't really seen that much this year.
Yep, CJ. This is what I've wanted to see out of CJ. So, 10 for 23 isn't terrible, but if you have these kind of games where you're not shooting as hot as he had been in previous games, how else are you going to contribute to the team? And to have those 10 assists, he actually played fairly decent defense, I thought. I mean, he did have some effort issues in the first quarter, as the whole team did, so I can't really pin that on one person. But I really like this version of CJ where it's like, okay, he shot 10 for 23, didn't really get to the foul line, but I mean, look how many assists he had. Look how he affected the game in other ways. And a year or two ago, there's no way we'd be saying that in a game like this. We would have been talking about how he went maybe 15 for 35 or something like that, because he could have shot all day in this game, right? He could have kept shooting. Mm-hmm. And he's had that attitude in the past where shooter's going to shoot, I'm going to make the next one type of thing. So it was really cool to see him actually make cool passes and get easy buckets for teammates when his shot wasn't necessarily falling early on in this game.
Yeah, I agree. It's just kind of the evolution of his game. More threes, better playmaking. Would like to see, obviously better defense. Still kind of waiting on that, but overall just, you have him on the team and you have him playing 40 minutes a game because of what he can do offensively. It's just nice that he's become more efficient of a scorer, and then also he's become a better playmaker on top of that. What's funny is He's been getting to the free throw line a little bit more than he has the past couple of seasons, even though he is shooting more threes. So that's also something that's nice to see from him. He had that crazy and one bank shot. I don't know how he made that from that angle. That was insane. He had 2 and ones this game, missed the free throws on both of them. So it wasn't really converting his and ones. He was 2 for 4 from the free throw line. Both the missed free throws were on and ones, but that shot was insane. That was one of the most impressive circus shots this year. Maybe even the number 1 circus shot this year, the toughest shot anybody's hit this year, because that was definitely impressive.
And let me just say this about CJ. I really believe. This is part of a mentality, and when you're a scorer like that, like Block Boy tries to say, you have a scorer's mentality. It's hard to become a good passer, but CJ has the skills, and anytime you can break down a defense with your dribbling, as good as he is in that regard, you have the ability in there to be an elite passer. You just have to want to be able to do that. And I feel like if he just wanted to have as fancy a pass video montage as he does crossing someone over, that he would easily probably be a better passer than Dame even, because he just has this ability to suck the defense in and get to the middle of that defense. And there's almost always, if there's a big man in the game, he is usually open underneath he found tonight, or there's usually someone open in the corner for a 3. I feel like if he just switches his mentality a little bit, and then at the same time, that'll create better shots for him. Like I always say, if the defense isn't completely focused on him shooting every time, and I say the same thing with pretty much anyone on this team, the more you share the ball, the less the defense can commit to trying to stop you from scoring, which makes your shots easier. So I feel like him passing at this level would greatly benefit both him and the whole team.
Yep. So the person that told me to read more chat, I've been reading chat and listening to Eric at the same time, and I see a lot of trolling and just chats all over the place. Chat's a mess right now, man. I don't know what's happening, but let's move on to, and this is probably the most excited player, the player I want to talk most about. You got Yusuf. I almost said Nursif. Usage.
Nursif?
That was bad. My brain. Bro, I worked out for 2 hours yesterday for the first time in a couple months because my gym's back open. My brain's just been fried since then.
Get some shots up?
Yeah, I got some shots up. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about my shot right now. But Yusuf Nurkic, 18 points, 13 rebounds, 3 blocks, 2 steals, 6 for 9 from the field. Was really good defensively. This might have been his best defensive game. He has a history of playing well against the Kings, just like Dame has, and this is another one of those performances, and probably his best performance of the year. He's starting to look a lot more like old Nurkic. He's taking the ball strong. He's finishing a little bit better the past 2-3 games. Defensively, he's far better the past couple of games than he was to start the season. He's actually making a real impact on this game. Here's the thing. Despite how bad the Blazers' defense was, Nurkic was playing good defense. It was there were so many plays where he would help and shut off a drive and maybe get a block shot and go out of bounds, and then the Kings would hit a 3. Or he'd help and cut off a drive, and that guy would kick out to somebody who would then drive, and Nurkic would cut it out, but somebody else would be overhelping and leave another guy open for 3. You know what I mean? That was kind of like the flow of the game tonight. Nurkic was not the reason our defense was so porous today. He was very good on that end. He rebounded really well, got a lot of tough contested rebounds, got a couple putbacks. Let me look up his offensive rebounding numbers. He had 5 offensive rebounds to go with 8 defensive rebounds. He was a menace on the boards. Played 30 minutes. I think this is the highest minute total of his entire season, and he might have played a little bit more if he didn't have 5 personal fouls. So despite having 5 personal fouls, he still played 30 minutes and looked to he was our most consistent player energy wise, I thought, on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, there was a stretch because he picked up 4 fouls and then he came back in the third quarter, and there was a couple plays, one where Harrison Barnes blew right by him, but he just didn't want to pick up his foul, so he didn't contest or whatever. But that's not necessarily effort. That's just him not wanting to get fouls. But other than that, Yeah, I felt like this was his most complete game of the year. I really like. We talk about this all the time too. That when he tried to pack it from like 8 feet away, like that's the mentality we need out of him. Like, don't try to flip shots up. Like, just go up there and try to dunk it on people. And you might get some offensive fouls occasionally if someone's really good at like taking a charge or sacrifices their body. But for the most part, you're either gonna get an awesome dunk or you're going to get to the free throw line. And I just wish he would attack the rim a little more versus trying to bank it in.
He's been doing a better job of that.
Yeah.
I mean, he had that play where he got fouled, where he almost absolutely posterized. I don't know who it was, but he took it really strong. I think he's been better in that regard.
Yeah, and yeah, even like when he catches the ball off a Dame pass while he's on the move, he's been like gathering and trying to go up strong lately. It's not quite as bad as it was early in the season or at parts like a few years ago when it was really bad. But yeah, I think the stronger he gets and the more in shape he gets, I think it's just a matter of time before we see this type of Nurkic more often and more consistently than we have.
Yeah, I mean, he might be there. He's like more mentally bought in. It seems like he's more. He's just playing with more energy. Some of that could be a shape thing, but it seems like mentally he's got his mind a little bit more in the right spot to compete than he did at the start of the season. And that's what I was saying. He just needs some time to kind of get into the flow of things, and it seems like he's getting into the flow of things now. So definitely good to see. We definitely need him defensively. He played great defense, but he didn't really necessarily... I don't know. Against a team that hits a bunch of threes, it's like he plays great defense, but teams can still go off on us. So it has to be more than just him. He can do a good job protecting the rim on those possessions. If guys aren't in the right spots and they can kick it out and the team's shooting well from three, then you need more people to step up because he can't do it all by himself. And it seemed like for some stretches this game, he seemed to be the only one like really stepping up defensively. Shout out Rip City 1977, $5 donation.
What's up, Brady?
I can't talk. Apparently you know him. He says refs.
That's Brady on Twitter.
Oh, is it? Okay, I got it. I finally put 2 and 2 together. He said refs killed momentum to start the second half with those ticky-tack fouls. Yeah, the start of that half, we were in the penalty, 4 minutes into the half? It was like the call that Luke Walton challenged, that was a charge, and they didn't overturn it. It seemed like them not overturning that made the refs think, oh, well, now we got to give Sacramento the benefit of the doubt on a couple calls or something. I don't know what it was. It was like that challenge had some sort of effect on them calling it for Sacramento or something. I don't know. It's probably just a coincidence, but it seemed to be like the next play down, it was more of a charge on Harrison Barnes,
right.
And they didn't call it. Say, yeah. And then, yeah, I don't know. There was like some plays after that definitely didn't go our way.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to mention that. It's like they just swallowed the whistle on that one when Dame gets like knocked to the ground in the post. But that was way worse of a foul than the time before because I don't know. I thought you're probably have the same attitude. I hate when I like avoid someone and I slide by them, but like they barely like scrape you as you go by and they like fall down like you ran into them and they call a charge. Like that drives me crazy as an offensive player. I mean, I'm glad it went the Blazers way, but like I can't stand that.
I haven't had to deal with anybody calling charges since like
right,
because we don't have refs in ours and nobody calls, it's call your own stuff.
Right, yeah, to regulate you and
nobody tries to draw charges in there. So shout out Near 012 $5 donation. He says you can see the trust between Nurkic, Dame, and CJ. They have made an effort to get him involved, especially at the start of games, and we're 4-0. So yeah, it seems like they've made a concerted effort to get him going, to get him bought into the game, and it seems to have worked. Him playing better could just be him getting more into the flow, and it could have nothing to do with them like feeding him the ball a little bit early on, but that definitely might be helping him have better performances the past few games.
Yeah, absolutely. he's one of those players that thrives off of success and it builds and builds upon it. So if he has a couple of good plays, you know that good things are going to happen and he's more engaged and stuff like that. So I don't see anything wrong with trying to force him a few touches and easy baskets early on.
Yep.
Wish we'd run that cross screen though more often. We haven't seen that since that one game.
Oh, I know. So we'll talk tomorrow on Blazers Uprise Live. We'll talk about the James Harden trade. Who was the fourth team in that trade? Because you had Indiana, Brooklyn, Houston, and then I saw some
Cleveland.
What did Cleveland do?
Cleveland got Jared Allen for Dante Exum and Milwaukee's first round pick.
What?
Yeah.
How?
Why wouldn't Houston want him? Yeah,
I missed that part of the trade. What?
Yeah.
So okay, what? So it was Karis LeVert got traded, Jared Allen got traded. Did they trade somebody else?
Yeah. Oh. So Cleveland also got Taurean Prince.
Taurean Prince. That's a great trade for the Cavs though. I mean, could be
the only problem is they have like Larry Nance, Kevin Love, Andre Drummond.
Yeah, but Kevin Love
JaVale
and Andre
McGee.
Drummond and JaVale McGee don't fit
I know
like
they're
their
all shorthand.
timeline.
Yeah. They'll probably try to trade all those guys. But.
Yeah, like Jared Allen fits their timeline with those two guards. I didn't realize that happened. We'll break it down more on Blazers Uprise Live tomorrow. Make sure to subscribe to Blazers Uprise Live if you haven't already done so. I can guarantee there's people in here that have not subscribed to Blazers Uprise Live. So if you went and did that, I would greatly appreciate it. And you can tune in tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time for our thoughts on that whole entire trade, because that was some major news tonight, and I just saw some people talking in chat about it. Let's move on to our fourth player, who is going to be Gary Trent Jr., who had a great game off the bench for the Blazers. 6 for 8 from the field, 4 for 5 from the three-point line, 16 points, 4 assists. It was nice to see him get going offensively a little bit more than he had in the previous couple of games. I always enjoy a game where Gary Trent Jr. is knocking down threes and playing good defense, and tonight was one of those nights.
Yeah, I thought he played really well tonight. We don't do him any favors when we put him in lineups where he's like the only good defender sometimes. And it wasn't just like the normal second unit. It was like today we had him in a lineup with like Dame, CJ, and Cantor, and I forgot who else was in there, but and it was like we need stops if we got like no defenders other than Gary out there. So like that's got to be hard. And the other thing that's tough when you're like the only good defender in that situation, because so he has to guard the guy coming up the floor, right? And then so what often happens is that guy will go and hand off to another guy and he'll come off like a pick. And so Gary has to switch onto him, and then he's guard. So like most of the possession, he's like doing nothing but guarding the ball, and that's tiring after a while. So it's good to see him be able to do that, and then also hit his shots on the other end and not get so tired. And that speaks to like being in good shape and stuff like that. So
yeah, his cardio is insane.
Gary's usually ready to play. He's been not hitting his shots greatly the last few games, but it was good to see him have a little bit of a better performance tonight.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't even really know what to say on him. The dude shot the ball well, And yeah. What was he? I will look it up because I am curious. People have kind of been acting like, he's been this year. I think he's been really, really solid this year.
I think it's been good.
I mean, the dude's averaging 11 points per game in 24 minutes off the bench per 36. That's about 16 points per game. He's shooting 43% from three. I would like to see him shoot a little bit better. Inside the arc, he's only shooting 41.4% inside the arc, but you're talking about a guy going into tonight that was 43% from three, right? After tonight, I mean, I'll do the math just out of curiosity. I wish Basketball Reference updated the stats like right after games, but they don't. Where's the totals? Am I blind? Okay, so now after tonight, he is 22 for 47 from three. That is like 45%, I think. 45% shooter off the bench who can play defense. That's what we needed for a while, right? Like he's been really, really good and just filling his niche, so to say. Him and CJ have been phenomenal from three. Both of those guys are shooting great from the 3-point line.
Yeah, it's just
47% actually after this game. 47%. Through 9 games, it's only 9 games, but that's insane.
See, the thing is, like, can anyone remember an assist he had in this game, really? Like,
No.
there wasn't, like, a memorable one, but, like, even though he's a good shooter, like, tonight is a good example of how making the extra pass, because I think some of those open Dame threes we talked about earlier, he had a 3 and he'd pass to Dame who had a better 3 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's just little things like that are so key to having a good offense, especially when you play better defenses than the Kings. Just making those extra passes and stuff like that, it just comes up big for the team, and it leads to Dame having one of his best nights of the year. And also Trent had a great game too, so it's not like he was not a part of things and was just like a pass or anything. So like, yeah, he really brought it tonight.
Yep. So hope that we can find him more shots in the future. But nice to have a good game from Gary Trent Jr. Andrew Phillipson, sorry if I butchered your name. He has a $5 donation. Appreciate it, man. He says, we need to trade Trent while his value is high. We can't make the playoffs this year because of the Suns. Also, why is Melo not playing? #fire Terrence Stotts. We can't make the playoffs because of the Suns? There's eight teams in the playoffs. I don't really understand that.
And Houston's probably out of there now.
Yeah, like, we are definitely a playoff team. I mean, we're 7-4 right now. We, like, the Suns are what? Let me just look at this. We are literally tied with the Suns right now for third place. We are tied with the Suns and the Jazz for third place. The Clippers are 8-4, so a half a game ahead of us, and then the Lakers are 10-3, 2 games ahead of us. So, yeah, we're definitely, just based off the really start of the season, it's still, we're still only 2 games outside of 2 games ahead of 9th. But I don't really understand that. I don't think we need to trade him either. I think he can be a part of this team long term, but I appreciate the donation. Let's move on and let's talk about let's see here who we got next. We got Robert Covington, who had a good shooting night from the 3-point line. Not so good inside the arc. He was 0 for 5 inside the arc. A couple of those shots got blocked out of bounds, so it wasn't really like a miss that hurt the team or anything. It wasn't a miss that they then rebounded and got possession from. So, that's fine. A couple of those were on good cuts too, and you just couldn't convert. But I like the I like the action. I like the off-ball movement, that type of thing. But he's a guy who's a 3-point shooter primarily. On the offensive end, and 4 for 7 from 3. It's nice to see him knock down some threes. It seemed like every time he missed a 3, he came back down and made one. There was one that he missed. There was just a stretch I remember that he missed, and the next possession down, he shot again, and it was like a little bit deeper, a little bit more contested, but he shot literally the next possession after a miss and made it. That's the kind of confidence he needs to have. He needs to shoot open threes when he gets them, no matter if he's 0 for 10 before that 3, because he's a good enough shooter that you want him you just want him shooting with confidence on open threes, because over the course of the season he's going to end up being a 35-36% shooter, and that's what you need from him provided his defense. So overall, I like the confidence he shot the ball with tonight. I like that he went 4 for 7 from 3. Defensively, he had a few more mistakes, I think, this game than some previous games where he was, over helping or helping when his help wasn't needed, and then the ball got kicked out to his guy and he didn't rotate back out in time. Those kind of mistakes I felt like were a little bit more commonplace this game than they normally are for Cov. But overall, solid game from him.
Yeah, there's a 3 where he caught it, had an open 3, hesitated for a minute, and then shot it and made it, and I think that helped him a lot. Actually seeing it go in. But the one where he had missed a couple in a row and then he made it, I was like, what are you doing shooting that? Because it was 5 feet behind the 3-point line, and he wasn't really super open or anything. So
that 3, it was almost like he was mad that he missed the last one, so he was just gonna make that one. So when he shot it, honestly, I was down. I like the kind of attitude he shot that 3 with.
Yeah, so I was like, wow, that's great to see. Just not only because he made it, but just the fact that you were willing to take that shot. And I mean, if you consistently miss it, then there's probably a point where you should be don't ever take that shot again. But but for someone who was struggling to take that shot and make it, that just shows that he has confidence in himself and that he's a streaky shooter, so he'll come out of it. But yeah, it's so frustrating because um, we talk about this all the time. Cut to the basket, like off ball movement, stuff like that. And then you see him make these beautiful cuts, and then he just can't finish to save his life tonight. And it sucks because it ruins like a good play or like someone who made a good pass and stuff like that. So I hope like he starts finishing a little better on those because he is doing a good job of moving sometimes, especially when he's not hitting his three. He is cutting to the basket. He just needs to now take the next step and finish those.
Yep. So overall, happy with the 3-point shooting. He's now, I don't know what, the last 2 games he's 1 for 8 against Toronto and then 4 for 7 tonight. So that is 5 for 15, about 33%. That's about kind of the area he's shooting in this year. I expect that to rise a little bit as the season goes along because he's been getting really good looks from the 3-point line, and he's a little bit better shooter than he's shown. And tonight he showed what you can do, 4 for 7 from 3-point land. Let's move on and let's talk about Derrick Jones Jr., his partner on the wing, in the forward spots, I don't know, front court, whatever you want to say. He dropped in 8 points, 4 rebounds, 3 for 5 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3. Also had a impressive alley-oop dunk, man. That was nice to see Dame throw him an alley-oop from half court and him put it down. I want more of those easy buckets. You know, this team shoots so many contested step back, fadeaway jumpers and stuff. I want a higher percentage of dunks or easy lay-ins and that type of thing, and Derrick Jones Jr. can give us that just with his leaping ability and his cutting ability. It was nice to see him get a couple opportunities through that, and overall just, defensively, like, I don't know. Defensively, he shut down De'Aaron Fox the first time we played him. Obviously, De'Aaron Fox got going, but I thought a lot of De'Aaron Fox's shots were tough. Like, I don't know if De'Aaron Fox made an open 3 tonight. It seemed like when he was open, he missed threes, and then when he was shooting like step back contested threes, he was making them. So I don't think you can necessarily just look at how De'Aaron Fox played and judge Derrick Jones Jr. because he was matched up against De'Aaron Fox for quite a bit during this game. But overall, it's just I don't know. Like, games like these, it's hard to even say much about. It was a kind of a ho-hum, solid, under the radar performance.
Yeah, I mean, if you take away the alley-oops, I don't know, at least offensively, how much he's really contributing. I don't know. I don't like his shot. I get worried whenever he shoots. I know he hit the 3 early in the game, but even his free throw shots look really. He's starting to like catapult it a little bit, and so I hope he can clean that up a little bit.
I mean, he's shooting 28% from 3 for his career. He's a 28% 3-point shooter. Yeah. This is what we should have expected. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But here's the thing: there's a lot of plays where he'll like shoot a 3 where it's like, dang, he could have maybe like started a cut while he was receiving the ball and maybe gotten a dunk off that just with his athleticism. So I want to see more of that, where instead of selling for spot up 3s, he like kind of starts a cut or catches the ball and attacks the rim immediately, because his 3-point rate right now is let me just look at this here. It's a career high. 44% of his field goals are 3s, which is the effect of a Terry Stotts offense, right? And that kind of goes to the point that I made when I was unhappy with the signing at first about he's a terrible fit. Of course, I thought he was a bad defender. He's obviously a very, very solid defender. He's a good defender. But you're bringing him into a Terry Stotts offense and 44% of his field goal attempts are 3s. I don't like that. You need to utilize him more as a cutter, more in transition, get him more shots on the interior, and better shots on the interior. You look at him last season from inside the arc, he shot 68%. This year, he's shooting 47%. So that is a huge drop-off. For his career, he's a 60% shooter from 2. Right now, he's shooting 47%, which shows you they're not doing a good job of utilizing his cutting and dunking ability. So still waiting to see more of that, and hopeful that will increase in the future. So it was nice to see like little flashes of that tonight, because there's been some games where they haven't gotten him a single a single bucket off a cut or a dunk or an alley-oop or anything. So hopeful that it continues to maybe grow a little bit and we can utilize him better as a cutter and a finisher instead of a three-point shooter.
Yeah, that's what I liked about the half court one is like it's almost like a fast break without it being a fast break, but he can run faster than a lot of players in this league. So like get him out and just lob the ball ahead to him sometimes and let him do his thing. Like it might not always work out, but like at least try to get him because I mean that was one of Dame's better passes on a lob, but it still wasn't like perfect or anything, and he just used his athleticism to catch it and dunk that. So like I just wish we'd like make a little bit of point of emphasis to like get him out on the fast break a little more and play a little more up tempo when he's in the game.
Yeah, but I mean he provides what we need defensively. Like the starting lineup has spurts of really good defense because Derrick Jones Jr. is on the floor. And that should not go underrated. You know, I've heard people say, oh, should start Melo over him, should start Trent over him. Trent's, more undersized. So, his cutting should hypothetically work well with having three players next to him that are good passers for their position. I don't know if you could say that about CJ, but the dude's getting 5 assists per game and has raised his playmaking this year. Dame's a good passing point guard despite his scoring ability. And then you got Nurkic, who's a good passing center. So hypothetically, like offensively, he could fit. You just got to utilize him more as a cutter and lob threat and continue to try and get in transition. I think the Blazers have done a good job pushing the pace so far this year, especially in the previous 5-6 games. But like, despite all that, he's a good defender, and that's what we need in the starting lineup with Covington. So definitely not calling for his job or anything, which I know some people are, and I saw something like that in chat. I just definitely disagree with it. Let's move on and talk about. I think we got one more player left. No, we got 2 more players left. We had Carmelo. Played 20 minutes tonight, had 6 points, 2 rebounds, and assists, was 2 for 4 from the field. Both those shots were threes. He was 2 for 2 from 3, including, I think both of them were in the, were both of them in the second half? I know he hit 1 in the second half in transition. That was kind of 3.
Want to say one in both.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, defensively was not good tonight. Offensively, he didn't force shots. They didn't force the ball into him, which is better. It's almost at the point where he should only play the second half. He's been far better in second halves so far this season, it seems like, than in first halves. I mean, you just look at halftime, and I just tweeted this out, and it's not even like fully Melo's fault or anything. I just tweeted out for all the people out there. The Blazers were 31 points better in the first half with Carmelo Anthony off the floor. I thought that was interesting. But it's like, obviously, 1 half, small sample size, whatnot. That might be the case with Damian Lillard one game. But when it's a repeated thing, man, it really makes you think about, like, okay, what is the issue with these lineups? And it's just, for me, it comes down to when Carmelo Anthony is on the floor with Ennis Cantor, the team, it just doesn't work, man. I don't understand what Stoss needs to see for him to like stagger Melo and Cantor a little bit more, but Melo and Cantor does not work defensively. The Kings kind of the Kings were playing good offense all night long, but I just have no hope for the defense with those two in the front court.
It was mostly because Nurk got his 4th foul, but he went out early in the third quarter. Cantor came in, and then Nurk came back in with a few minutes left in the third, and was playing with the second unit. And I thought that maybe we'll start to see a little bit more of that. And I think because for how bad the plus-minus was in the first half, Melo finished, I think, with an even plus-minus tonight.
Yeah, so. Bro. In 10 minutes, he was a negative 17 in the first half. In these 10 minutes, in 10 minutes he played in the second half, he was a plus 17. That's exactly my point, and it's not even like a Melo issue. He needs to be paired next to a center that can defend, and Cantor can't defend. The Cantor-Carmelo pairing is like just so non-cohesive, and they exacerbate each other's weaknesses, and they don't really feed on each other's strengths at all. Whereas a guy like Nurkic playing with Carmelo, it's just a far better pairing because Nurkic can play defense, and I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence that the lineup with Carmelo in the second half, with Nurkic paired next to him, was far better than the lineup with Carmelo and Cantor in the first half. I don't think that's a coincidence whatsoever. Obviously, Nurkic is just better in general, but I also think it's a fit thing there.
Yeah, I agree. I'm all for mixing rotations and doing stuff and seeing what works. Like especially early in the season, like there's no reason why we should have set rotations, set players that play together always come in together at the same time. Like why are we didn't have like a training camp or like a normal preseason either. Like why aren't you experimenting with more lineups and trying to figure out like who can play well with each other? You have a couple of new guys in Rocco and Derek Jones Jr., but you're basically only playing those guys together. And like, so how do you know like they might not develop a chemistry like Nurk developed with Dame when he came over if they were playing with someone else in a different lineup or something like that? And unless you try different things throughout a game, especially early on in the season, I don't know how you can just keep going back to the same thing. So I hope they figured something out with this, with a little bit of tinkering in the second half of this one.
Yep. I mean, he had a big momentum three. You know, I want to see shooting splits by quarter for Carmelo. That would be interesting to see. But overall, I mean, here's the thing. Like, if he's not gonna do much, if he's not gonna like be on fire offensively, I'd rather him just not shoot much than to force a bunch of like turnaround fadeaways out of the post or that type of thing, you know. So it seems like they've gone away from that more, and the ball movement is better in the second unit. So offensively, I think the second unit has benefited from that. When Melo has it going, he can knock down some of those turnaround shots. You know, it just needs to be. It at the start of the season, it was like 80% of his shots were turnaround fadeaway twos. You know, and they've gradually gotten him better shots and shots that. He's more efficient on and that are better for the offense, and they're moving the ball better because of that. But I don't know. I mean, he was fine tonight, you know. It's just like at every half when the team is like thoroughly better without him on the floor, it's just like that just speaks to the pairing of Cantor and Melo. It just doesn't. Those two guys don't work. You need to give Melo a little bit more help, man. And Nurkic, I think, provided that for sure. Last guy we got to talk about is.
Can I say something real quick? Ryan Johnson mentioned this. Thank you guys so much. We just hit 4K subs.
Did we? Okay, cool. I checked like.
We appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much. That means a lot to us.
Yeah, I checked like 10 minutes ago. We were one away. I didn't want to say anything and then have people, trolling. Subscribers, something, yeah. But watch, we're probably gonna go back down below 4K. But nice to hit 4K. We hit 3K only a couple months ago, so it took a lot longer to get from 2K to 3K than it did from 3K to 4K. So it's awesome to just hit that milestone. Appreciate you pointing that out. And what was it, Adam? Or Ryan? Right, I think right. Adam. So, Ryan. Yeah. Appreciate you pointing that out, man. Let's go. Let's just keep things rolling and move on to Ennis Cantor. 4 points, 5 rebounds, 3 blocks. He was actually, here's the thing, he was actually not bad defensively today, it seemed like. I don't know. I mean, he got a ton of deflections. He had a steal, 3 blocks in 18 minutes. I mean, what'd you think of him defensively today? He didn't do much offensively, but defensively I thought he was all right.
He was okay. I mean, Whiteside's not the worst matchup for him defensively. Because I mean, you don't have to worry about him popping off pick and roll. So I thought that helped him a little bit, but I don't know. I guess an up-tempo team that shoots a lot of threes, I don't know if he's ever going to be the greatest matchup, but yeah, he was fine, I guess, and on defense tonight.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't really. He only played 18 minutes. He's last for a reason. You know, I generally have the best performances first, but I don't know. There's really nothing to say with Ennis. He finished a couple buckets that he got feeds on from CJ. 5 rebounds in 18 minutes isn't, as good as it has been for him. He's been rebounding the ball crazy well, and but overall, like, defensively is where his issues are, and I think he was okay on that end tonight. He had really active hands. Other than that, there's really no aspect of his game to touch on.
He struggled with trying to score on Whiteside a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. So anyway, that's gonna wrap up our players. We're an hour into the stream. We're already done with the players, so that's a lot faster than normal. That'll give us more time to just chill with chat and talk with chat and whatnot. So there we go. Let's look at the Kings real quick. Let's look at some of their stat lines. You had De'Aaron Fox shoot 9 for 18, 5 for 8 from 3. He had 29 points, 6 assists. Ooh, excuse me. 6 assists, 6 rebounds. Buddy Hield, his counterpart in the backcourt, had 26 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Both those guys had great games. You had Rashawn Holmes, who I talked about a little bit earlier, with 17 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists on 6 for 6 shooting. My favorite rookie, Tyrese Halliburton, was phenomenal tonight. He does not play like a rookie. He had 17 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds, was 7 for 10 from the field, 3 for 4 from the three-point line. For the season, he is shooting... let me see here. Don't play ad. Yep, there's a good old ad. For the season, he's shooting over 50% from 3 and over 50% from the field, over 80% from the free throw line. So he's crazy efficient. His three-point shot was kind of a little bit of a question mark, but 3 for 4 tonight. It looks kind of weird, but goes in, and that's what matters. He was one of mine and Eric's favorite rookies in this year's draft. I think we had him around like 5th or 6th on our big boards. The Kings got a steal with him falling to 12th. The Kings have never had much draft luck. They finally got a good pick and a good prospect in Tyrese Halliburton, who is just... You're talking about a 20-year-old rookie who plays like a veteran. Like, he plays like a veteran. He does not look like a rookie out there. So, and plays good defense, too. I thought he defensively, was going up against a really tough matchup when he was in the game against CJ or Dame. And here's the thing, a lot like CJ's shots I felt like were contested. And I felt like Halliburton did a good job contesting him. And even some of Dame's shots, it was Halliburton having to rotate over and then the Blazers moving the ball to Dame, or he did a decent job making it somewhat tough on Dame when he was in the game. I thought he played the best defense out of the 3 guards they have there with De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, and himself. I just love his game, and it's nice to see him doing well. And it's, obviously, don't want him to necessarily do well against us, but it's cool to see how well he's done in the NBA.
I wonder what they're going to do long term with the 3 guards there. Obviously, they just locked Fox up to a max contract. Hield has a decent contract too, but there's always been rumors about trading him. I don't know. I kind of feel like if I could just do this, I would probably... I kind of like Halliburton and Hield more than I do like Fox and Halliburton, if that makes sense. So I probably would have maybe tried to move on from Fox, but I get why they have to keep him and stuff like that. They haven't really had a lot of star power there, haven't made the playoffs in a while, so I get why they did it, but I just kind of worried about Halliburton being kind of stuck in a situation where he's never going to be the man as long as Fox is there.
Mm-hmm. Speaking, I didn't realize this until just now. Nemanja Bjelica is getting DNP coaches' decisions, which is just mind-boggling to me. Mind-boggling. He hasn't really shot the ball well this year, only 24% for 3, but you're talking about a guy that 3 years before that shot over 40%. Smart veteran player, didn't shoot the ball well through 10 games, and now Chimezie Metu is playing over him. That's shocking to me. That's a guy that I've always really liked. So, I don't know. Maybe that's a guy... I don't know. With Carmelo as a backup forward, they don't really they're not gonna go after a guy like Bjelica, in my opinion. But it's just kind of shocking to see him not playing. And I thought he was hurt tonight or something. And then I look at the box score and it's DNP coach's decision. And apparently, it's the second game in a row for them he hasn't played.
Yeah, the games I've seen of the Kings, he's really been bad. So. It's not surprising that he's been kind of taken out of the rotation, but...
But you're going to play Chimezie Metu over him?
Yeah.
Come on now.
Metu played like 3 minutes, I think.
Who was there? I don't know. It's not like Marvin Bagley's good, though. I don't know. But Marvin Bagley's more part of their future, I guess, or
Right,
maybe
right.
not. I don't know, but that dude should be playing. That dude is you're talking about 10 bad games, and now he's not playing when he's been like an insane 3-point shooter for the past 3 years. Yeah, I think 3 years is more likely to win out instead of 10 games. But overall, they didn't really have much else from anybody else. Harrison Barnes had 11 a night after he went off for 30 in his previous game. Marvin Bagley had 11 on 4 for 5 shooting. Corey Joseph had 3 points for him. Whiteside had 7 off the bench in 10 minutes. He's looked good against us when he's played for them, but he isn't getting a ton of playing time. He's stuck behind Rashawn Holmes, but overall he was had a solid impact for them, I thought. Glenn Robinson with 3 off the bench, Metu with 2. So that team just isn't. I don't know. Like you just look at some of the names not playing. Jabari Parker isn't playing for them. He came in super overweight, so I guess that's not a surprise. But you got Jabari Parker and Nemanja Bjelica not playing for them, which is kind of I don't know. It's just kind of surprising in a way.
Yeah, and Sherman was asking me why I don't like Fox. The reason for that,
he hates foxes.
like, I wouldn't say I hate him. I just, in the modern NBA, I prefer my point guard to be able to shoot. And
5 for 8 from 3 tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to base it off
crap.
one game, fine. But so I know he's improved a little bit on his shot, but like, I don't know. I want either, if you're not a good shooter, you have to be like an elite passer, and he only averages like somewhere between like 5 and 6 assists a game, I think. So like, it's not like he's like driving and kicking out and creating a ton of 3-pointers too. So like, I don't know. In the modern NBA, I'd rather have a point guard that is either an elite shooter, an elite passer, and I don't really like the type of point guards who are super athletic but don't pass well and don't shoot well, because I feel like there's somewhat of a liability at times.
Yeah, I mean, he's barely 23 years old. He turned 23 last month, so still has time to kind of build upon that. And it's not like he's had a ton of talent around him to create for. So
we're in an age, though, where like almost every team has like a really good point guard. So like, even if Fox is really good, he's not anywhere near like top 10 point guards in the NBA or anything like that. So like, I don't know. I just, yeah.
I mean, last season he averaged 21 points per game, 7 assists.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's solid.
Yeah,
but you look at his 3-point shooting, it was 29%. The year before that was 37%. So if he can kind of have the statistical output he did last season with improved 3-point shooting like he did in his second season where he shot 37%, then you might have something that's like, then he might be worth that max contract they gave him. Obviously, he's definitely not there. I don't think that whatsoever. But you're still talking about a young prospect. So I mean, like, last year he was only playing 32 minutes a game too and putting up those stats. So
here's the thing. So Sherman says it's unrealistic for the Kings to let a guy like him walk. What are you talking about? I didn't say he's bad or like that they should not sign him or anything. Like, that's stupid. Like, I wouldn't ever like suggest that with a good asset like that. He's just not the type of player I personally would build around if I was a team. But I understand why they had to keep him and sign him to that. Like, it makes sense. And I would have definitely explored possibly what you could get for him. But, like, it doesn't mean I, like, hate him or don't think they can win with him or anything.
Yeah, I mean, last year per 36, if you want to do it per 36-wise, it was 23.7 points per game and 7.7 assists. Like, that's like worth the money if he's also hitting threes. The problem is he only shot 29% from threes. So I think they kind of were hoping that, okay, last year was a little bit of an aberration. We can get him back to shooting around 35, 36, 37%, because if you're getting a guy that's giving you like, you know, if he's playing day minutes, he's giving you 24 and 7 and plays good defense. And he's 23 years old. Like, that's a good prospect, you know. It makes it more of a debate with what Tyrese Halliburton is doing, though, too. So I don't think they expected Halliburton to be this good.
No.
So that'll make it an interesting
or fall to them in the draft.
on how they deal with that long term. But let's go around the NBA with some scores. I'll try and get through these quickly. We had 3 games postponed tonight. Why are the Hawks and Suns postponed? Which team had a breakout? I wasn't really in the loop today.
What's that?
The Hawks and
Uh,
Suns were postponed. Which team was having issues?
uh, it was the Suns because they just played the Wizards, and every team that plays the Wizards has had an outbreak.
Oh, got you. Yeah. So the Wizards and Jazz was postponed. Celtics Magic was postponed. Suns Hawks was postponed. But other than that, you still had 6 other games around the NBA. Let's start off with the Mavericks who beat the Hornets by a score of 104-93. Luka had 34 points, 13 rebounds, 9 assists, 4 blocks, 2 steals, really filling up the stat sheet. Kristaps Porzingis is back. In 21 minutes, he had 16 points on 6 for 16 shooting. He got up 16 shots in 21 minutes. That's pretty impressive. 18 points for Tim Hardaway Jr. For the Hornets, they were led by 18 from Terry Rozier. They had 16 from PJ Washington and Gordon Hayward. LaMelo Ball in 25 minutes only had 4 points, 5 assists, 7 rebounds, was 2 for 8 from the field. 0 for 4 from 3. That's more along the lines of what I was expecting from LaMelo Ball in his rookie season. So he's played very, very well, but it could just be a small sample size thing. It'll be interesting to watch as his season goes along. You had the Bucks beat the Pistons 110-101. They were led by Giannis, who had 22 points. They had 21 from Drew Holiday, 12 from Chris Middleton. Their bench has been playing better lately. Bobby Portis had 11 points off the bench. Brent Forbes had 13 points. Good old Patty Fastball had 9 points in 16 minutes. For the Pistons, Blake Griffin is back. I don't know how long he's been back, but he's always hurt, so he's back for now. He had 12 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Jeremy Grant had 22 for them. Svi Mikhailuk had 18 off the bench. That team's just bad. Is that team the worst team in the NBA? They're 2-9 right now. That they might be the worst team in the NBA.
I don't know if the Raptors only have 2 wins.
but bro, the Raptors are a lot better. You know. I won't toss you any questions if you want to type to chat or anything. I was just trying to
I was actually thinking. I don't. There's got to be a team worse than the. I don't like the Wizards.
Yeah. At least they got a star level player though. I don't know. It is definitely between the Wizards, them, and maybe I don't know. The Thunder have played well, but I expect them to be down there as well. The Nets.
Bozo, aka Westbrook, says $2 donation. LeGoat is going to win Rookie of the Year. Don't at me. And by LeGoat, he means LaMelo.
Banworthy, man. Banworthy. Appreciate the donation, but I don't appreciate the comment. Do not call LaMelo LeGoat, man.
He calls him LeGoat, and he only refers to Dame as Blevin's cousin now.
Blevin's cousin, man. Good old Westbrook, or R.I.P. Bozos. I don't know what he wants us to call him because he doesn't want to be known as Westbrook anymore. So we'll have to figure that out. The Nets beat the Knicks in the Battle of New York City by a score of 116-109. Of course, the Nets traded for James Harden today. We'll talk about that more tomorrow on Blazers Uprise Live. You had KD drop in 26. They had a pretty well-rounded effort from a number of players. Bruce Brown had 15. Joe Harris had 15. Jeff Green had 11. They had Luau Cabarro with 13. Shaman with 13. Reggie Perry, a rookie who was a second-round draft pick, had 11 points on 5 for 7 shooting in 22 minutes off the bench. So he had to step up and play for them, considering they just traded Karis LeVert and Jared Allen and Taurean Prince. You have Claxton out. You have Tyler Johnson out due to health and safety protocols. Spencer Dinwiddie has torn his ACL, so short-handed.
Who knows where Kyrie is?
Who knows where? Yeah, I didn't even think about Kyrie. Yeah, you got that whole thing, man. I'm sure getting James Harden in that locker room is going to make Kyrie bought in. So we'll see how that sorts itself out. But those two in the same locker room with KD, ooh. Yikes. You had Julius Randle pouring 30 for the Knicks in a losing effort. He had 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 13 for 25 from the field. RJ Barrett had 20. Emmanuel Quickly has been really good this year. That was one of my favorite sleepers. He was projected to maybe go undrafted or be a late second-round pick, and I had a borderline first-round grade on him, and then the Knicks shocked everybody and took him with the 26th pick, I think it was. He's been really good for them. He poured in 19 in 22 minutes on 7 for 15 shooting, 3 for 6 from the three-point line. So he's made an impact there in New York. They had a good draft getting Obi Toppin and him. Toppin only played 1 minute tonight. I don't know what that's about. Is he like out of the rotation now for them or what?
No, this is his first game back from an injury, and he was a game time decision. And then so I'm guessing either he only played a minute at the very end, or they decided to pull him after a minute because he didn't look right out there or something. I didn't see what actually happened, but I knew that he was a game time decision. So I think it's more injury related.
Yeah, I love their draft. Getting Toppin at 8, I think, was a steal, and then quickly as well, which everybody thought was a reach, but I think that was a solid pick, and it's turning out to be a little bit of a steal. Kevin Knox has been playing better. He had 13 points for them on 5 for 6 from the field. You also had, let's see, the Grizzlies beat the Timberwolves by a score of 118 to 107. The Grizzlies are still without Jaren Jackson Jr. and John Morant, but they had Jonas Valanciunas step up with 24 and 16. Brandon Clark, my Gonzaga guy, had 19 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. They had 20 off the bench from Grayson Allen, 15 from D'Anthony Melton, and another rookie who had a good game today. Xavier Tillman in 18 minutes had 12 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals on 6 for 8 from the field. So that's just another rookie playing well today. There seems to be a ton of them, man. This rookie class was labeled as very bad, and it's been very, very good this year. So definitely cool to see some of these new guys in the NBA be productive in some of the time they've been given. For the Timberwolves, you had 28 from Malik Beasley, 25 from D'Angelo Russell, 25 from Karl Anthony Towns. They just can't defend, and that's not a surprise. You got Karl Anthony Towns as your center, D'Angelo Russell as your point guard. Of course, their defense sucks. So that might be one of the worst teams in the NBA too, since we just had that debate. The Lakers blew out the Thunder by a score of 128 to 99. They had 26 from LeBron and 18 from AD. Montrezl Harrell had 21 off the bench. The Thunder were led by Gilgeous-Alexander, who had 17. Isaiah Roby had 11. He's starting for them now, apparently. I haven't really been keeping up with the Thunder. Another rookie who had a decent performance tonight, Poku, in 21 minutes, had 10 points off the bench on 4 for 9 shooting. And then the last game today we had was the Clippers beating the Pelicans 111 to 106. The Pelicans were without Lonzo Ball. They were without Zion Williamson. I don't know if there's anybody else they were missing with that I missed there, but they only lost
Nikhil.
by Nikhil Alexander Walker. Yeah. You had.
No, he had a huge game.
Oh, did he? Oh my goodness, I just saw that stat line. Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. 28 points from Kawhi, 27 from Paul George. Nick Batum is still starting for them. He was 3 for 7 from 3, had 9 points. They had 12 from Ibaka, 10 from Pat Bev. For the Pelicans, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, 37 points, 8 rebounds, 15 for 23 shooting. He stepped up and had a great game for them. They had 22 from Brandon Ingram. They had 12 from Steven Adams, 12 from JJ Redick off the bench, and they had 10 points from one of my favorite sleepers in this past year's draft, Kyra Lewis Jr., who was 3 for 6 from the field, dropping in those 10 points in 16 minutes. So nice to see him get some burn and have a solid game. Just another rookie playing solid, man. This rookie class has been very, very good so far. It's interesting to see how well some of these guys are playing.
Yep. What's the Pelicans record now?
Pelicans are now. I can put the standings up on the screen if you guys are curious. This is the Western Conference. Let me make sure I get it over enough. That is the Western Conference standings. I'll zoom. Nope. There we go. I'll zoom in on it for you guys.
We're still below 500.
We're still below 500?
The Pelicans.
Yeah. I need to zoom out a little bit more. Cool. There. That's good. All right. So, yeah, I mean, you got the Lakers leading this thing. The Lakers and Clippers, no surprise there. Utah, Portland, Phoenix all tied at 7-4. Dallas 6-4. You got Golden State, San Antonio there, rounding out the playoffs. Yeah, I don't know. Anything like shocking or interesting to you standing wise, or is it still too early to get a good feel on anything?
Denver still being below 500 is surprising. Everything else is I'm not super surprised on, especially considering how quickly Houston unraveled after a loss last night. I mean, they have an okay team now. I don't know if they're necessarily tanking, especially since they owe their pick to OKC this year. But overall, it doesn't really surprise me that much, other than I expect Denver to flip with San Antonio at some point, and those to be the 8 playoff teams when all are said and done.
You do have like the play-in with like 7 versus 8. The loser has to play the winner of 9 versus 10. So in terms of the top 10 teams, I think these first 7 for sure, and Denver for sure. And then I think probably San Antonio and maybe New Orleans steps up in there, is going to be 9th and 10th. Houston is now a lottery team in my opinion. San Antonio's played decent basketball, so who knows where they get, but I expect the 4. I mean, you're going to talk about 7th through 10th is going to be 3 of Golden State, San Antonio, and New Orleans, and then it's going to be 1 of Denver, Dallas, Portland, Phoenix, Utah, Clippers, Lakers. I feel like those 7 teams are all like head and shoulders above Golden State, San Antonio, and New Orleans. So I think just whichever team has the worst injury luck, I'm not quite sure. That is, I don't know. That'll be interesting to watch as the season goes along. Hopefully it's not us. I don't want it to be us.
Yeah, knock on wood. Shout out to Andrew Phillipson for another $2 donation. But his comment is a bit troubling. He says, every Suns starter is better than the Blazers, to be honest.
Yeah, right? Come on, man.
Okay.
I'm going to assume you're a Suns fan who's...
No, he says, I'm a Blazer fan saying this. Matchup-wise, the Suns are far better.
Dame is better than Chris Paul. CJ McCollum has been playing a lot better than Devin Booker. Nurkic is better than DeAndre Ayton. Covington is pretty even with Mikal Bridges. And then who's their other starter? Jay Crowder? Has Jay Crowder been starting for them? Like, he's not impressive.
I think Crowder's been starting. Sometimes Cam Johnson, but...
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I'd take, like, Crowder over Derrick Jones Jr. But, like... Actually, Crowder's the 4 there, isn't he? So, Mikal Bridges is the 3. So, I'd take exactly one of their starters over one of our starters, right? I wouldn't take Chris Paul over Dame. Devin Booker, long-term, obviously, I'd take him, but he hasn't been better than CJ this year. Nurkic is better than Ayton. And then Robert Covington is better than Jay Crowder or Cam Johnson. So yeah, just I don't know why you think that, but I appreciate the donation. Shout out Blazer Tate 2K for a $2 donation. He said, "Is Ryan just not going to upload the pod you did with him?" I guess not. I haven't heard anything about it, and he never ended up, I don't know, tagging me in anything. So I don't know if he just scrapped it or whatnot. But if he did, that's all good. I don't really care, to be honest.
I think, because that was the weekend before the season started, right?
Yeah.
I think there was like a Monday where they were like, okay, here's our big extravaganza before the season starts. And I think you were part of it, but I think there was like a ton of different guests and stuff, so I don't know if they tagged everyone specifically or not, but I thought I remembered it.
Interesting. Anyway. Yeah, so that is around the NBA. That is, the recap of tonight's game. We can take questions in chat for as long as you guys want to.
I don't know who asked the question, but on the Locked On Blazers podcast, they mentioned us specifically in a question.
Yeah, the person who asked the question brought us up, and they were like, yeah, we don't know. I'm not too, or he said, it was Mike Richmond, and he was like, I'm not too familiar with those guys, so I don't know. Like, he was, wasn't really familiar with us, so, which is perfectly fine. I think he had Dan Marang on later that podcast, so he probably is familiar with us and hates us now, but, hopefully not, man. Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Can we match up against the Nets in the finals? And if not, who do we need to trade for to be able to compete? It's hard to even analyze what a finals matchup would look like just because we're so early on in this season. I mean, you got Rocco to put on KD. You could probably put Derrick Jones Jr. on one of Harden and Kyrie. But who knows how that team even plays like, you know what I mean? That team might not play I don't know. offensively, they're going to be extremely talented, but I don't know. Like, does their ceiling offensively really raise that much by like taking out like a Karis LeVert and replacing him with James Harden? Obviously, James Harden is a far better offensive player, but you're already talking about a team that has two like very good offensive players. Their problems have been defense. This doesn't really help them defensively, so those problems are still going to exist. So it's still going to come down to, okay, well, this team can't really play defense, so you have a chance of outscoring them, especially if, James Harden is playing super ball dominant and not shooting the ball too well or something like that. You know what I mean? It'll be interesting to see the style of basketball James Harden plays outside of Houston while he's next to KD and Kyrie. Yeah, there's just a lot of things that go into that I can't really speak on yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the defensive thing is a little overrated because Durant's been a good defender. They picked up Bruce Brown, who's a decent defender who can guard some guards if they have trouble in that regard. Harden's kind of average on defense.
Kyrie's below average.
Losing
DeAndre ain't the same.
Losing Jared Allen, I think, is going to really hurt them more than anything else. But yeah.
And then you have like the locker room dynamic, which is very interesting as well, I mean, who knows? Kyrie might not want to play in the finals, so maybe, we match up a little bit easier against them.
Yeah, even with all three on the court, we struggle individually against some of those guys, especially KD and Kyrie have had some huge games against us. But like you mentioned, they can't all shoot on the same possession. So, I don't know how much better that makes them necessarily. I guess they could just go to whichever three has the worst defender on, but that's going to be really tough for Steve Nash to keep him happy. And there was also a report that Kyrie is away from the team right now because he hates Steve Nash and is mad that they didn't consult him before hiring Nash. And then you heard the comments over the summer about how he doesn't think they need a head coach and all that stuff.
Why does he hate Steve Nash? Why would you hate Steve Nash?
I don't know. I think that he's just upset because he's a diva and wants to. He thought he should have been able to pick the coach. We saw them last year, personally run Atkinson out of town for no reason. Yeah, it's just weird.
Well, doesn't KD like Steve Nash?
Yeah, I guess. I thought that's why they hired him. But, that was also the report that now KD hasn't been talking and they've been distant with Kyrie and KD. So, yeah.
Bro, they wanted to play together and Kyrie is already... Bro, Kyrie can't get along with anyone. Kyrie cannot get along with anyone. Because that was the case in Boston. Ever since they won that championship, he's just burned bridges, it seems like. And he can't get along with anyone. He can't get along with a head coach. He can't get along with his teammates. Yeah. That guy... I just don't even know what to say about it. It's just ridiculous.
I love this. We have split stuff in chat. So Shervin and Chiefin are telling me that we're too hard on Kyrie and that the media makes stuff up. But then they're telling me that Kyrie approved Steve Nash. So if you don't trust the media, how are you getting the information that Kyrie was fine with Nash signing? So it works both ways there.
Chiefin says, Tori, I bet if you saw Kyrie out in the world, he's a cool ass dude. Why are you a hater? Bro, it doesn't matter who he is as a person on the street. What we're talking about is basketball and how he functions in a team setting. And the way he functions in a team setting is not good whatsoever. And how anybody can argue that is ridiculous, man. He ran Kenny Atkins out of town. He can't get along with his teammates. We saw that in Boston. Now he and KD are distant. Apparently he hates Steve Nash for some reason. He is not playing due to personal reasons, aka no, he just doesn't want to play, and he's being caught at at large gatherings in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, I don't know how you can defend any of that. It does, like, I'm not saying that, oh, if I just met him in person just somewhere random, he might be cool. Like, okay, cool. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the way he functions as a person in a team setting on a basketball team, not, oh, how does he treat you if you run into him on a sidewalk somewhere. So that's the thing with him. It's not good. And that's not hate, man. Bro, anybody doing that, anybody who does the stuff that Kyrie does, I would be just as critical with it. So it's not like a I hate Kyrie thing specifically. It's the actions. I hate the stuff he's doing and the way he's acted is what I'm critical of. Not, I don't have anything against him personally, as a just random person or anything. Like, I don't understand why people have to portray things like that, as somehow, oh, if he was cool to you walking down the sidewalk, which is just a hypothetical, by the way, somehow that excuses all the stuff he's done. It doesn't. So, if he got his act together, was like completely fine, then I wouldn't have anything bad to say about him. It's just, I'm just basing everything off his actions, and his actions they're not good. It's plain and simple.
Yep, and I don't know. I don't understand why me saying that I would never want Kyrie on my team. That means like I would like treat him like crap if I saw him in person. Like that has nothing to do with like who I'd be. Like I'm just not a mean person to like. I don't know. I wouldn't do that to someone in real life because I didn't like the way their attitude was about basketball or because they thought the Earth was flat or whatever. Like I just think this guy absolutely destroys teams, and I wouldn't want that anywhere near my team. And he thinks he's, more important than basketball. So it's like, don't play then. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Shout out to Mike B, who had the $5 donation. He says, Kyrie was number one high school prospect, played 2 college games, and drafted number 1. It's clear to me no one can tell him anything. I mean, yeah, man. It's just like, the issues that he's creating are just petty to me. Like, why don't you like Steve Nash? Why do you think you are the one who's supposed to hire the coach? Like, KD wants Steve Nash here. Steve Nash seems like a great guy. Like, what's wrong with that? Like, you have a guy that legitimately thinks, oh, we don't need a coach, so therefore he's just going to dislike the coach they bring in. Yeah, you do need a coach. Like, it's just mind-boggling. It almost seems sometimes that Kyrie like wants to cause issues or wants to it's just I don't even know, like he wants to cause issues because I don't understand logically why he wouldn't like Steve Nash, man. Like what I mean, like maybe he has his reasons or whatever that I'm not seeing, but I don't know what you'd have against him coaching wise. Like, yeah, I feel like if you're gonna have a problem with Steve Nash as your head coach, you're gonna have a problem with anyone as your head coach. Like he to me seems like he would find a way to have a problem with Terry Stotts as his head coach, and we all know Terry Stotts just lets his players do whatever for the most part compared to other NBA coaches. So I don't understand the issues, man.
And I mean, some of that might not be true, but like, I mean, there's a reason why people think this or would report that and stuff like that. And the Nets were asked, like, where's Kyrie? They're like, we have no clue. And it was allegedly the first game he missed, he told the team he didn't feel like playing that night. And I mean, that's fine, like if you want to be like that, but then don't go AWOL and like not talk to the team or like conversate with them. At least be like, here's what's going on with me. Like I'm going through some stuff. Like, can I just work with it? Like, because like the stuff with Dennis Rodman, I don't know if you watched the full Last Dance, but like he left in the middle of the finals, to go party in Vegas, and but at least like the team like knew he was going and like what was going on and knew that he was like just a mental head case. But like Kyrie tries to act like he's not and then does this kind of stuff.
I mean, here's the thing. Maybe that's something that's misreported. I don't know the sourcing on that, but
it's not Scoop B, Sherman. Come on, man.
Given his history of antics, I would not be surprised at all if that's the case. Like, that would just fit his pattern of behavior, So, like, sure, like, oh, it makes him look bad. He'll come out and say, oh, yeah, just the media, man, screwing me over. I love Nash and blah, blah, blah. But I don't know why you trust it necessarily. Like, because just based on, it's just, the stuff like this has been reported too much for it not to be true, in my opinion.
And it's been with every team he's been on, too. It's like, there's always something with this guy. I don't care if you want to try to say I'm overblowing it, fine. But I can't stand people like that. I wouldn't want a guy like that on the team. Honestly, I wouldn't sign that guy for a minimum because he's the type of guy that could destroy a team and your locker room and stuff like that. I just want him nowhere near in my locker room.
Yeah. So. And
Chiefin, who cares if he puts up 28 on high efficiency if he doesn't show up to games? Like that's dumb. Like, I don't care. He's a great player when he's on the court, but it's proven that he hasn't done jack in this league without a LeBron team with him. And yeah, he hit one of the biggest shots in NBA history, a 3-pointer, and
it's one shot.
That's great. Yes, he totally earned that championship. I'm not taking that against him, but like every team he's been on other than that has been worse when he's on the court. So,
I mean, I don't know. Like, if we don't have Dame and had like Anthony Davis instead of Dame, then I would still like.
Yeah, I'm not
for saying. Like free. Like, yeah, I'd want Kyrie, but like given we have Dame and CJ, like there's no point to even add him to this team, like because we don't need him. When his skill set is not going to bring anything new to this team, and then he's going to bring a lot of new issues. So for this team as constructed, I wouldn't want him on a minimum, no.
And Brian the Kid says, he left LeBron because he wanted to be the number one option. Now he's the third option on his own team. Like,
yeah.
Like 2 years later, he wanted to sign with KD somewhere, and now he's like, yeah, if that's true that him and KD aren't really getting along. But like, if I'm KD, why the heck would I not be like mad at him right now for like basically deserting him in a season where they have serious, like, even if they didn't make the trade today, they legit could be the best team in the East and have a chance at a title. Is that what the goal is here, or are you just like gonna go off and do whatever? And even if it's legit reasons for why he's away from the team, you still have this stuff about breaking protocols, and he's on video, at a party without masks and stuff like that. So like, I mean, he's not doing what's right for the team, and that's why I can never get behind a guy like that who's always thinking about himself and not the team aspect of it.
Do you think they trade him this year potentially?
I wouldn't be surprised if they initially were trying to trade Kyrie for Harden, just to like get rid of the headache. But the funny thing is they would have had KD and now Harden if they didn't have Kyrie too. So I don't know who would trade for him at this point. Like who would be willing to trade? Because like who knows if he'd even show up or whatever if he got traded at this point.
Yeah,
I doubt anyone would give up much for him.
Yeah. People try to say that guy's better than Dame, man. That guy won't even show up for games. Literally, yeah. That conversation was always ridiculous, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they probably couldn't get enough back for him to even justify it. It's just a tough situation he's put them in.
They should trade him for Westbrook.
See, I was thinking about that.
That'd be hilarious.
Westbrook, Harden, and Durant. But I don't think Harden wants to play with Durant. Not Durant. I don't think Harden wants to play with Westbrook.
No. But yeah, it'd be hilarious.
I think he was over that last year. So maybe jeez, I don't know, man. What's a team that's like desperate to contend? Maybe Orlando. He ain't showing up to Orlando though. That would be funny though. Like Orlando just like needs a star.
Most of the teams like the Kings or someone like that, I don't know if they would even want to play for those teams. So,
but like you got like Markelle Fultz out for the season. Maybe like honestly, the only team I could see making a little sense is like Orlando.
What if they trade him to Toronto for Kyle Lowry?
Actually,
That would be interesting because, like, I don't know if Toronto might actually do that just to do it, and Kyrie seems like the type that would be okay with playing on like a team that wasn't in America. If I read the situation right, I don't know.
yeah, I mean, and Kyle Lowry would be a decent fit there. Like, that'd be interesting for sure. Hmm. I don't know. It'll be interesting to watch that saga as it goes on.
They're in Chief, and they're in Tampa right now. I know, but he's under contract for more than just 1 year. Like,
Yeah, we're not literally only talking about this season. I don't know. And they might be able to get back to Canada near the end of the season. I don't know. But Katie not doing his friend like that. Well, it sounds like they're not really friends. So I don't know. Like, I don't know what Katie expected teaming up with Kyrie, man. Chose the wrong guy to team up with.
well, I don't know. It seems like he's kind of like wishy-washy, you know, like
Yeah.
kind of. I mean, Aldridge was like this too, but it was just because he wasn't necessarily. I mean, I guess he did turn out to be in the playoffs. He took his own flight home and stuff like that. So I guess I can't fully say that he's not completely like Kyrie, but you know, I'm sure Aldridge would be fine one day, and then like the next day you had to walk on eggshells around him and
Yeah.
be like super like, oh, I hope I don't get the bad side today, or I hope he's not mad at something little that I did or something. Yeah.
Shervins, what do you mean? How TF would the media know that, man? Why are you coming at me like that? B, what do you mean? How would the media know that? The media, that's their job, is to find out things like that. So I don't get that. Like, I don't understand that. How would the media know that Katie and Kyrie are distant? I don't know, because there's people in their camps that talk to media members, most likely. You know how it's always worked. So, Shervins, you're tripping, man.
I guarantee you Durant's been asked
I
like
didn't know
50
you
times
were.
about it.
I didn't know you were a Kyrie apologist, man. Come on, it's always, oh, the media makes up everything in regards to Kyrie. Oh, well, why isn't he playing?
Except
Oh,
for all
well,
the good things.
well, he personal reasons, man. I mean, who knows what's going on with that man? He's probably going through a lot, you know. Reports said he didn't want to play. Oh, well, how would the media know that? He's probably going through some really tough stuff, and yeah, like that's how it goes. So that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from you, Shervins.
I heard he had a tough upbringing too. Like, yeah, I mean,
So did KD, man.
but
That man isn't like. So did a number of players in the league.
but yeah, and like I said, there's a difference between doing what Kyrie's doing and being like respectful about it. I mean, like if you want to say like I'm just not like feeling right about playing right now with everything that's going on in the world and my situation, I'm just not mentally into this season and playing basketball. That's fine, but he's not even like telling his team that or why he's gone. He's just like,
Here's
I
the
don't feel
thing.
I don't feel like it. Like,
You
yeah,
think
it's
that KD would be cool with Kyrie just saying, "Oh, I don't feel like playing. I don't like Steve Nash." When KD likes Steve Nash, and Kyrie apparently doesn't. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. The media might be lying, man. Fake news. I don't know. Whatever. Screw that crap. But like, you think KD would be cool with Kyrie not playing just because he doesn't care, and then Kyrie going to mass gatherings where it could easily. I mean, I know KD has already had COVID, but you know, like putting the team in jeopardy and whatnot, and all the stuff that Kyrie's doing right now. You think KD would be cool with that? You think that wouldn't have an effect on anything? If you think that, you're not really being logical, in my opinion, because of course, that's going to affect things if Kyrie's doing that. KD and Kyrie wanted to team up to play basketball for the Brooklyn Nets, and now apparently Kyrie doesn't want to play basketball for the Brooklyn Nets. Of course, that's like, I believe that story because it makes sense. It 100% makes sense. So,
like Trevin says, how does the media know that Kyrie's not really playing? Maybe it's just false news. He's really playing. We just don't see him.
yeah, I mean, I hate when people just fall back on, oh, well, that's just a fake news story when it doesn't fit their narrative. You know, if somebody wants to defend Kyrie, it's always, oh, the news is just making stuff up because they want to defend him. You know what I mean? Like,
You brought up something that I don't know if you saw, but it's come out now that several NBA players are now testing positive for a second time. Just to warn you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
So,
a lot of them that tested positive, it was like March, April, May, right?
yep.
So we're talking about like 8 months ago, 9 months ago.
Durant, I think it was July or like right before the bubble.
No, I
Yeah,
thought Durant
so
was earlier. I'll look that up.
maybe I don't know
So
for
who
sure.
who tested positive for a second time?
I don't know because they don't announce
Oh,
like
that's just fake
these
news.
are
Yeah.
our 20 positives, but I guess there was multiple NBA players that tested positive after already having it earlier last year.
Oh, KD tested positive in March.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it was would have been like 10 months ago. So yeah, he's it's definitely not something to where they're not thinking about people getting it twice because it's happening.
Hmm. They should release names on who's missing time that had it before. Like, they should be able to connect dots there and figure that out. So, what
I
report
don't
said
know.
that?
There's so many people. Shervin, are you Kyrie? But Kyrie does that to himself, Shervin. That's the thing you're not taking into account. He's brought all this upon himself by the way he acts. He told the media they were pawns and that he wasn't going to speak to them because he's above talking to them. Like, and then you think that they're just going to like treat him with respect or something. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, yeah. Shervin's has me baffled right now. Why is he being a Kyrie apologist? I don't get
Yeah, it's weird.
it. So yeah, I'm reading this report on it right now. And here's the thing, like, so it says a recent UCLA study showed antibodies fall dramatically in the 3 months following a mild case of COVID-19, which I feel like mild case is an important term there. Um, so like, so if you deal with it worse or for longer, you probably build up more of an immune response to it. I think that's probably the thing with that. And you're talking about like young athletes. It's probably a lot of mild cases. Nasir Little didn't get so lucky, but so yeah, it doesn't surprise me that 8 months later, probably like for a lot of guys, they're getting reinfected.
Hmm.
So, hopefully we can get this vaccine out and all that, and get past this whole damn
That
situation.
the NBA has said that they weren't going to skip the line, but I could see a situation where if more and more games continue to get postponed, that they're just like, you know what,
Yeah.
we can make this. Let's just pay a little extra and get moved up the line here.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how that's gonna sort itself out, but and who knows what percentage of players will even take it. So,
Hmm.
uh,
So Adam Smith asked if the Pacers will have Karis LeVert tomorrow. We're not 100% sure. My guess is no, because there was a lot of players involved in that, and they all have to pass physicals before any of them can play in a game. So it's highly unlikely that they would be. And then also with the protocols for COVID, I think you have to have a certain amount of days before you can actually be approved to practice and stuff like that with your new team. So yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say that LeVert will not be there. TJ Warren's also out for a while, and obviously they lost Oladipo in the trade as well. So yeah, might get a little bit of luck there with the trade timing.
we'll talk about that trade more tomorrow on Blazers Uprise Live because I definitely
Mhm.
have some opinions on certain teams in that trade and what they've done. I also need to look at kind of the picks that Houston got. I haven't really looked at the full trade. I didn't even realize Jared Allen got traded to Cleveland. So
They got 3 firsts from Brooklyn. I believe they're all unprotected to make it work. Maybe 2 out of the 3 are unprotected, and then the other 4 years, they're all pick swaps from Brooklyn. And then the pick they got from Cleveland is the 2022 Milwaukee first unprotected.
Yep. Yep. James Harden lost 13, almost $14 million over the next 3 years because of this trade, because of taxes.
Well, he turned down they offered him like a 2 year, 50 million extension too a few weeks ago, and he turned it down. So he would have been the first player. I know some. I think Dame's close to 50 million in his last year of his deal, and I think Gobert might be pushing 50 in his new year, but he would have been the first one to actually get it in a year. So that's crazy, but so yeah, on top of the tax situation, it's also that. But he wanted to go to Brooklyn, so yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. We can take a couple more questions, but we'll probably log off here soon.
Dame called out one of the reporters in his interview for tweeting that Dame and CJ aren't the best backcourt. Like a local guy, or was that like a national guy, Olivia?
Yeah, I'm curious as to who that was.
Was it? It might have been Aaron Fentress.
I definitely gotta listen to that too. If that was Aaron Fentress, then that'll be a good listen. She says that she thinks it was Aaron Fentress. So yeah, I'll have to listen to that, man. I don't like Aaron Fentress. I gotta stop saying I can't. I just said I gotta stop listening to that man. But we've had a few more females watching the show, which is always good. Diversity and all that. I'm just so used to saying like man and guys and that type of thing. It's like so habitual for me on stream. I definitely.
I haven't seen Allison in chat tonight.
Allison was here earlier.
Was she?
Yeah, she was here.
She usually asks good questions. But...
Yeah, she has good questions. Hamza's here.
What's up, Hamza?
Out of all people, it's a Hamza sighting. Yeah, I'm just.
Hamza got kicked from the group chat.
What'd you say? What'd he say this time?
After this, he said that's it. Or after the trade today, he said that's it. Dame needs to request a trade to Milwaukee if he ever wants to win. All that stuff. And someone balked him. I don't know who it was, but
probably deserved, man. What the hell are you talking about? Yeah, man, we didn't trade CJ McCollum for Dame needs help, man. We have to trade a guy averaging 28 and 5.
Yep. And we'll talk about the prospects of picking off other players on teams that were involved tomorrow as well. Someone like a PJ Tucker is almost certain to be traded. I think he's actually demanded a trade as well. So we'll see where he lands.
You know what's funny about this is CJ McCollum is better statistically than James Harden this year. CJ McCollum has been better than James Harden this year. James Harden getting 10 assists per game. CJ's getting 5, but CJ's been more efficient. He's scoring at a higher rate. At actually a decently higher rate. Per 36 minutes, CJ's scoring about 5 more points per game. So, I don't know, man. Like, people that like think that's some insanely huge upgrade, it doesn't fix any of our problems, and CJ's been playing amazing, so...
In Harden's defense, he has looked like he hasn't given a crap except for the first game he played.
Exactly, but I want a guy that gives more of a crap. Yeah. CJ kind of gets crap for not giving enough of a crap, but James Harden definitely spends too many nights at Texas steakhouses, man. He's been eating. That man looking like me, looking a little bit too looking like he needs to lose some weight, so
IF Panji asks best takeaway from tonight, positive wise. I like the passing from our guards.
Yeah, the ball movement, the shooting too, of course.
And yeah, we'll talk about PJ Tucker tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm just tired, man. I'm just tired right now because my gym opened back up. It's like reservations, so there's nobody in there. But like, I worked out for 2 hours. I shot for like 45 minutes, and rode the bike for like an hour. But like I haven't done anything in like 2 months because I can't run. It messes with my knees too much. So I did that, and since then, dude, I've just been like so fried, and I'm like kind of out of it. So apologies if I am seem asleep or seem sleepy. Also, I'll shave if I want to shave, Andrew. Come on, man. you can't control my life that much.
And the Blazers haven't hired him yet because they don't like people who actually are critical. So,
yeah, man. Earlier in the stream, I had like so many people telling me exactly what to say or exactly what to do. I know the probably don't shave again thing is a joke, but I legitimately have so many people here that come in here and just tell me what to do, and it's like, well, I don't like backseat driving.
come on, might be. That's not cool. But Javo, man, yeah. Any Letterry's thoughts or LeBum or LeMickey or any of that kind of stuff is an automatic timeout, and you know better than that, dude.
Come on,
can't stand that crap. So
this ain't
stupid.
Twitter. This is YouTube. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like reacting to Fentress on stream, but Greg that's Smog. Yeah, so yeah, that road is actually, I found an old path, I think. I'm not sure, but we're not gonna talk about that, my guy. Come on now. Don't take the stuff from behind the scenes and put it in front of the scenes.
All right. So Sherman, like, the media is out to get Kyrie, but now you're defending a media member that has dumb takes. Like, okay.
Sherman, man, be consistent, my guy. Come on now. How are you gonna say all that? Like the media is out to get Kyrie and it's all fake, and then defend Aaron Fentress? I didn't even read anything you said.
We're just giving Sherman crap.
Okay, I was just basing off what you were saying, man, because I don't know how you could even defend.
No, he says, I don't think Fentress is a bad guy. He just says stupid stuff.
Well, I mean, I don't criticize him based on how he is as a person in his living room with his family. I don't all my criticism is for who he is as a media member, and as a media member, I just lost my pen. But as a media member, he's not it. In my opinion, some people might like him. I think some people still read the Oregonian, right? Right? Is that still a thing? some obviously nowhere near the same. I know it's on the downhill fall there, but yeah. So I go to Lakeshore, Malcolm. I go to Lakeshore Athletic Club. That's
used to be cool back in the day. Like late 90s, early 2000s, the Oregon Live forum for the Blazers was like the only place you could go and like talk about in the early days of the internet with fellow Blazer fans. But yeah,
Reese, I know you're not stealing anything, my guy.
You're worried about a 15-year-old stealing your stuff.
Where are we going with this? What the hell? What the hell is being said right now?
We're switching over to late night.
Yeah, no, we're just gonna
Uprise after dark.
Nope, we're not gonna do that. Not above 100 viewers. That's a that we're not small enough for that anymore, man. We just hit 4,000 subs, so. But. Nah, so there's a lot of people in here that I play Among Us with and, like, I'll talk to, and then they want to, like, if I talk about a girl, you got freaking Greg Martin here. Greg. Feels weird to call him Greg. But, trying to out me, man. It's not cool. What happens in the Discord stays in the Discord. Alright? I read that in Kyle's voice too, man. That's funny. I'm a hop off this stream. I'm getting tired. I'm falling asleep. Thank you guys for coming in and chilling with us. We will see you guys tomorrow. We got another game tomorrow. We got the stream before the game at 3:30 over on Blazers Uprise Live. Make sure to go subscribe. Let's hit 1,000 over there. I thought we were going to hit 1,000 over there before we hit 4,000 here, but I was wrong. Appreciate you guys helping us reach that milestone. It's nice to hit four grand. That's a pretty cool number to hit.
Java's tempting me to ban him.
Yeah, man, I don't have the mental energy to deal with any of that stuff tonight, man. I've been all over the place this stream. Sorry if I seem like half asleep or anything. I gotta get back in the groove and get back in shape, and I'll have more energy for these streams. But I've been dieting. I just started working out today, so definitely fried, so to say. But yeah, we're on that New Year's resolution grind, all that nice crap. So anyway,
thank you everyone for watching.
Yeah, make sure to follow us on Twitter at ToryJonesYT for me, at HoopShock for Eric, at Blazers Uprise YT for the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Let's create a little cushion there so I don't fall back below 4,000 like I did with 3,000, because right after I hit 3,000, I was like, yay, we hit 3,000, and then 10 minutes later I checked again and we were back below. So I don't want to deal with that. All right, so subscribe if you haven't already done so. I'd greatly appreciate it. We keep you covered on post-game streams, and we'll get back to videos at some point. We've had a lull, but we'll get back to the grind with those. Make sure to follow or subscribe to our second channel as well, because we'll be streaming and going over this trade that happened today in depth. It was nice for the Blazers to get a 132 to 126 win. 23 threes gets the job done tonight. Was a very entertaining game, and the Blazers were able to pull things out to win their fourth straight. Hopefully they can make it a fifth straight win tomorrow night against the Indiana Pacers, and we will be live around the same time with the post-game show as usual. So anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you have a good rest of your night. As always, peace out. Go Blazers.